function with the main protagonist. Anupama Chopra sitting in the first row, bejeweled and dressed in her best designer wear, looking resplendent in her many varied shades of white. Off-white, on-white, on-white, off-white. She's whispering demurely in the ears of my old friend and colleague, Rajiv Masand. Now this version of Masand is a far cry from the younger, mustached one, whose complicated vocabulary we all were so convinced by back in the days when I played anti-hero. He's older now. A tad heavier, if I may ask. And his mustache has disappeared completely. A critic his age, as he would talk about other actors, might do better considering roles more suited to himself, rather than trying to manage fitting his new oversized fame into a single white sofa, while pontificating on the exactness of a director's angle as it closes on to Salman Khan. मेरे दोस्त हैं तो बुरा नहीं मानेंगे या मानेंगे भी तो क्या उखाड़ लेंगे मुझे पता होगा हम ऐसी फिल्में करते ही नहीं For Rajiv, I mean, judging MasterChef season 303 might fetch him more kudos from his slightly bored and jaded audience. Anupama, meanwhile, could take on any Bollywood siren if you were to go just by the gushy tone in which she addresses male superstars while interviewing them, breaking into short, shrill giggles, which could easily find place in a 3-type horror movie, actually. Anyway, as the scene progresses, the plot begins to fall apart. The award function turns into yet another 6-hour long meandering extravaganza of badly choreographed dance numbers no one wants to watch. Not to mention an endless parade of has-been critics for whom lifetime Unachievers Awards have been lined up throughout this evening. A lackluster, unimaginative disappointment you wouldn't want to recommend to your worst enemy. I'm going with 1.5 stars. Sorry about my 5-star sense of humor. Friends and beloved critics, here we are at the Critics' Choice Film Awards, and I'm genuinely very, very honored that you have invited me here. And to sound relevant, I have written a speech, and the point is that the world is changing and is changing very, very fast. As we try to keep up with the new generation that is super connected through social media, aware of itself like no generation before it, and yet simultaneously fragile and impressionable, we also relate to art and the emotion and passion that drives it in new ways. For us artists, the challenge is to remain centered in our creative expression while servicing shorter attention spans, new psychological paradigms, and faster, more efficient communication networks. The future will bring tremendous learning and change both technologically and at the level of the artistic relevance of our work. कितना cool बोला ना ये सब आएगा ना डिजिटल मीडियम पे इनमें से लाइंस लेके ये सब लिखेंगे मेरे बारे में. While we, as artists, are now at the mercy of an audience who now have so many options at the disposal in order to form an impression of a film's quality, from unbelievably long and plot-revealing trailers, to tweets, to opinions, to blogs, and what have you, even scene-to-scene reviews from the theatre as it goes on itself. And hence the role of the critic would simply now break down to the basic truth. And the basic truth is that the best film criticism is an art that can help to unfold the beauty of the film. A well-written, heartfelt review can reveal new facets of a film to an audience and cause their thinking to depart on a new line of thought, instead of it becoming a rush to get your review declared as only positive or negative, coupled with the so-called outrage culture on social media. We may end up reducing our powers of nuance and ambiguity and finesse as a society. As critics, just like movie stars, I imagine that we will face one of the two possibilities. That social media and its capacity to create egalitarian platforms for sharing views and opinions renders us both irrelevant. Yea, for all the critics if they become irrelevant. Or the relevance of your views in our cinema actually increases as the reach of ideas expands due to the same platforms. This, of course, would mean a new level of responsibility for both our sides. We all know and accept it's easy to critique art, but there really ought to be a deeper consciousness that drives the critique. Art forms often emanate from places that transcend analysis and critique. The best artists were rarely recognized while alive, precisely for the same reason. It took the world to evolve before it recognized the likes of great masters such as Picasso, Van Gogh, Mozart. The list is endless. Art, after all, cannot be compartmentalized, deconstructed, explained, or be subject to the rigidity of logic. Have you ever read literary explanations of poetry of the Javed Sahib, for example? They reduce the rhythm and beauty of words to complicated pieces that remove all the joy from the loveliest of verses. So I request you all present here, the senior journalists and filmmakers, let's not reduce the reviewer's job to provide an advisory service, a shopping guide, or a Flipkart shopping cart option to the filmgoer. We need a full understanding of criticism, one that grants it more credit than a tweet or a user review. Film critics should be film lovers who have chosen this path because they believe in cinema as an art form. So I hope and pray that these awards here tonight truly recognize masters of the future tonight. And may these awards lead to their mastery being recognized and appreciated by larger and larger audience while they're present and working. I do also hope that these awards become more than just another opportunity for people like me who really don't do much as far as art and cinema is concerned, to preen on the red carpet, as handsome and as cool as I may look there. I hope that they inspire all of us to reach beyond ideas of what is acceptable or viable art within a limited framework towards what is new, resplendent with the magic of imagination, and just plain brave. And more importantly, stars like me and filmmakers like me have to change myself as an actor and as a filmmaker. I have to promise myself to push the envelope as far as I can. It's what my love for art of acting demands of me and filmmaking demands of me. I would like to be a superhero, a midget, vertically challenged man, a fan with a prosthetic face, or the kind of lover most men are incapable of being. I'll be whichever lie reaches into the truest expression of my creativity. To become an actor, you need to deconstruct yourself. You need to discard the self. That's what the truth is when it comes to your art. We filmmakers have also far too long given more credibility to constructed and jaded ideas. We search for art, we search for form without searching the essence of our stories. We find logic in commerce and disregard the free spirit of storytelling. We have to remind ourselves that truth is formless, only untruths have form. We as film fraternity have to be truer to ourselves and hence to the stories we set out to tell. So I request all my critics friends here, please don't be like us Bollywood film stars and get carried away by what Bollywood succumbed to many years ago, the star system. The star system cannot be the only way of summing up films by a critic. 3 stars, 3.5 stars, 3.25 stars, 5 stars. It's a film, it's not a hotel, for God's sake. With the advent of homegrown critics sprouting all over, film critique is becoming an endangered species. Please let it not perish to be replaced by a consumer service that has no brains and all thumbs. Meanwhile, as actors and filmmakers, I will try not to keep spreading my arms and flash my dimples at every given opportunity. So I wish the whole film fraternity that is gathered here tonight, all the critics, all the journalists, Raja Sen, who I really love, because when my film is the biggest disaster, he's the only guy who likes it. Bhavna Somaya ji, agar aapka josh, jalwa, if she's here, I love the alliteration she uses all the time, jalwa, josh, jazba, jazbaat. But I wish the whole fraternity here, with all my love and goodness, as a filmmaker, as a star that you've made me, the best of luck with these awards. May these awards encourage better filmmaking, and may the critics here find enough films to like and encourage that better filmmaking. And now, I will quickly perform Chaya Chaya with 100 dances. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Thank you everyone for being here. And have a great night. And Congratulations to all the winners.